This is Rap the News, and today is going to be God versus GMS. We're going to start with John 3, number 4. Sin is the transgression of the law. Not what we want it to be, but the transgression of not going by the Torah. The Torah is God's law. In fact, the only law. By not going by the Torah, you are in sin. The reason why we use precepts upon precepts is because it's stating that the New Testament must match the precepts of the Old Testament in order to be true, or else it is sin. Again, sin is transgression of the law, refusal to go by the laws of the Most High God in the Torah. Let's get it started.
But first and foremost, we want to say call, allow you,
God speaking, Exodus 20:13, and in all things that I have said unto you, be circumspect, and make no mention of the name of other gods, neither let it be heard out of your mouth. 1 John 1:18 proves that Jesus Christ is another God. No one has ever seen God, but the one and only Son, who is himself God, another God, and is at the Father's side, and it is at God's side, beside God. Again, the Son who is himself God and is at the Father's side. The commandment, make no mention of the name of other gods. Now they're going to lie and say he ain't a God? Ask yourself a question. By whose authority do they disregard God and speak such blasphemy?
Because here it is, you have some wicked nigga reading out of the New Testament, but then denying the Lord Yahushua, denying the Lord Yahushua, denying the Lord Yahushua.
Demons is speaking for them. Deuteronomy 6:4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Anything other than that is transgressing the law, and you are a sinner. Mark in the New Testament 12:29 states, and Jesus answered him, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord, which is the first commandment. The Lord our God is one Lord. If you add Jesus Christ as Lord beside the God of Israel as Lord, you have two lords, and you speak in blasphemy. The Lord our God is one Lord. Again, adding the nation's God to our God and staying and remaining in sin.
Can't get to the Father except you go through the Son. Can't get to the Father except you go through the Son. Can't get to the Father except you go through the Son.
They don't believe that.
Here we go again, transgressing the law. Thou shalt have no gods before me. They are stating the paganistic infiltration of the New Testament that says you can't get to the Father unless you go to the Son. We know already that Christ is a God next to our God, but is not a God, and is not next to our God. But the New Testament is claiming that he is a God. Thou shalt not have any other gods before me. If you have to get through the God Jesus Christ to get to the God of Israel, that God is before the God of Israel, and you are in your transgression, and you are a sinner, and all sinners is going to hell.
same man, Yahushua, came to the Heavenly Father, right? And there was given him dominion and glory and the kingdom that all people, nations, and languages should serve him.
God never said none of that. Isaiah 4:8, a contemporary English version, it says, I am the Lord. I won't let idols or humans share my glory and praise. He is speaking from a man's standpoint. God didn't say any of that. And then he says, Deuteronomy 13:4, you shall walk after the Lord your God, not Christ, people. Like I said, transgression of the law is sin. So these people are in sin, and they're going to go to hell for their iniquities. That's why Jesus says, depart from me, ye who work iniquities. Only the one who does the will of the Father is getting into the paradise. And fear him and keep his commandments. And do what? Fear God and keep his commandments. And obey his voice. Did he say obey John, Luke, Peter, Paul, Matthew, or even Christ? They can't say nothing unless God said it. People, we got to get down to the point of it all. We only worship God. Everything else is creation. We do not worship created things or men. The only one into the worship of men is gay men. Okay, and I'm right about that. And women. And I'm talking about these are men that's talking right here. And you shall serve him. And then Luke 4:8, Jesus is telling them the same thing. Precept upon precept. It is written, worship the Lord your God and serve him only. This is straight up. So you should know it was an infiltration. And God, said that he don't change. And that you don't add to his testimony or subtract from it. So he keeping you on a point, right? And so Israel is only going to be saved by the Most High God. He's the only Savior. He said, look unto me, all you ends of the earth, and be ye saved. Not Christ. There is no need for a Savior. The Gentiles placed a Savior in the Bible to save their own asses because they was all doomed to the fire. It's unfortunate that it already told you Christ crucified was a stumbling block for the Hebrew, and that if you worship Christ, he is no profit to you if you are circumcised. As you can clearly see, people, they are not worshiping God. They are not listening to God at all. They are in sin. They are not obeying the commandments. And thus will they all perish, believing in their own minds that they're righteous some type of way. I hope you guys get an understanding out of this, man, and stop following these land of the lost, these losers. And just like I said, thank the Most High God for sending us GMS so they can be used as example to show you that they are not worshiping God. This is Rap the News.